Hey, what up? It's your boy Spank Dog, aka Puffinstein at YouTube. Comment, share, subscribe. You already know. BC Spank Dog at Instagram and Puffinstein514 at Twitch. Let's get into it. Alright, so apparently they brought back the dire wolf for all the Game of Thrones fans out there like myself. The wolf that they find in the first episode of Game of Thrones is actually back on planet Earth. So I'm gonna get right into it and put the video on.
Upload from Minutes of Horror. I was having issues replying to comments every time I tried to reply. I was getting an error, so I thought I'd delete the video and just. We are going to be looking at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. So if you have not heard by now, and I'm sure you have because it's all over the news and everybody's talking about this, scientists at a Dallas laboratory called Colossal Biosciences says they brought back the dire wolf after being extinct for 13,000 years.
We turn now to that remarkable scientific breakthrough. 13,000 years after the last dire wolf walked the earth, scientists say they've now brought them back. Here's our chief national correspondent back up and with the video tonight.
13,000 years ago.
Night, a hell 13,000 years in the making. In a first for science, biotech company Colossal Biosciences says it brought the extinct direwolf back to life, a species that hasn't walked the earth since the Stone Age.
I had to bring this to you guys. I have so many people that I got love for, that love animals. I have so many friends that watch National Geographic, family members, and this is wild.
Direwolf is the first de-extinct species.
Well known from HBO's hit show Game of Thrones, ABC News given exclusive access into Colossal's lab.
They're saying this is the first time they brought back an extinct species. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they're claiming, I believe.
Lab in Dallas, where scientists are using genes from gray wolves to create dire wolves.
We've taken a gray wolf genome, a gray wolf cell, which is already genetically 99.5% identical to dire wolves, and we've edited those cells at multiple places in it.
She mentioned that the gray wolf is 99% dire wolf to make you more complacent with the fact that they brought back a species that was extinct. If you hear, oh, it's 99% of the species that's still on Earth, then you say, oh man, they just added 1% to it. It's minimizing something that's tremendous.
DNA sequence to contain the direwolf version of the DNA. That animal looks like a direwolf, it will behave like a direwolf, and it is a direwolf.
Now, 7 months old, direwolves Romulus and Remus eating well and getting bigger every day.
Their names are Romulus and Remus.
Why is everybody putting up with ads? It's 2010. It's 2025, guys. Just use Pi. This
Romulus and Remus.
Chrome extension takes 5 seconds to set up, and it.
And David, the company tells us they're 2028, but critics argue that this de-extinction could harm fragile ecosystems. David,
the images are really something, Matt. Thank you.
Now, some people will say that these are not true dire wolves. As you heard in that news segment, these are gray wolves that have been modified.
Let me just tell you something too. Just because I chuckled when I said their names were Remus and Romulus, the names are funny, but don't think that I don't understand the gravity of what's going on.
To become dire wolves. But to me, in my opinion, this is just the truth in plain sight. They have been doing this for quite some time now, for decades, making chimeras, genetically modified animals, genetically modified people. So when we see news stories like this where they're genetically modifying gray wolves to turn them into dire wolves, they're trying to make this the norm. All they're doing by presenting this to the news as a brand new scientific breakthrough that nobody's ever seen before, even though we know that they have been doing this for quite some time, is just, again, getting you used to the idea of genetically modified things. There are these things called DUMBs, deep underground military bases, where in locations that have desolate areas like New Mexico.
How wild is that though, that they brought back an extinct species? As the days go by and technology becomes more advanced, nothing shocks me anymore.
Montana and so forth, even Antarctica, they conduct these horrific experiments. Sometimes these experiments, they escape or they are let loose on purpose to see how they interact with the surrounding area. There was a news story that broke out back in 2018, and I'm reading this from CBS News. It's titled, "Mysterious Furry Creature Shot in Montana, Puzzling Wildlife Experts." This creature did not look like a dog, did not look like a wolf, did not look like a coyote, but looked like something of that species. The article continues to say that the animal was shot on a ranch outside Denton on May 16th, but looks as if it came out of the Ice Age. It looks almost like a wolf, except some features are a bit off. It has long grayish fur, a large head, and a snout, but its ears were too large, its legs and body too short, and its fur uncharacteristic of that common toy wolf. So again, they had no idea what this creature was. They said it looked like a wolf.
In the comments, when you guys see this, let me know what you think that's about. You said I like to watch the video before I present it because I don't ever want to present any blame to you guys and nothing like that. There's certain channels that I know that they're official, so I can put a video on without watching it, but I'll still watch it. You make sure it's kosher. So let me know what you think about animal that we just saw. He talks about that they have crossbred humans with animals. I think that's what he's saying, and do it because they want to have something more like a human to try medicine and surgical techniques on. If I got it correct, we're gonna hear it coming up.
Wolf, but it had none of the characteristics. It looked so odd to them, they spent their own money to conduct a DNA test because they thought this was some kind of mythical creature. Before the DNA test came in, several wolf experts looked at a photo of the beast and doubted that it was a purebred wolf. Many members of the public agreed. Social media was quick to pronounce the animal as everything from a wolf hybrid to something mythical, Montana FWP says. So after the DNA test results came back, the strange-looking creature was determined to be, as coincidence may have it, a young gray wolf, even though, like the news article says right here, it had very unusual features which fueled speculation. Isn't that very interesting? A gray wolf, the same type of wolf they used in that news story.
You think they would mix a gray wolf with a human? This is me just asking. I'm not saying that they did it. I'm not saying it's ever been done. I'm simply asking a question because you just happen to mix the gray wolf with the dire wolf and they successfully created the dire wolves. They're beautiful. But what if there was like trial and error before they got to make these beautiful animals? Then people find that particular weird looking animal. Do you think that was a trial and error? And do you think it was something that was with a human and an animal? I said, question for them. I'm just asking in the comments.
They used to genetically modify to become a dire wolf. But going back to that news story in 2018 with the DNA results, I'm reading this from the Great Falls Tribune. It says, in this case, there was very, very, if any, support of the animal.
The Great Falls Tribune documented newspaper
being a dog, coyote, or hybrid. It was very strongly placed in the wolf category. But then it goes to say that there are no wolf packs that are established in central Montana where the supposed gray wolf was found. Even when it comes to locations like the Skinwalker Ranch, where people say they saw dire wolves or these humanoid wolf-like creatures, maybe there's a deep underground military base nearby where these experiments are conducted on real animals or perhaps real people, and again, they're let loose. We always hear stories every year of monkeys escaping. Monkeys escaped from a truck. Monkeys escaped from a lab, like those monkeys, the 42 monkeys that had escaped from a lab in South Carolina. And you really have to wonder, are they really purebred monkeys, or perhaps
did they really escape? He's about to say
experiment allowed to escape, allowed to leave to see how they interact with the public, interact with nature. I don't trust half the stuff I hear from news and media. None of this stuff is new. These experiments could explain a lot of different sightings like Wolfman, Dogman, Bigfoot, and so
now,
remember,
as far as like, listen, when we get news, you can't travel to the location to find out if it's official. You're gonna be taking the word of a newscaster. Now these news vetted. Trust me. Now if you do Do they vet a news company? I can't say for sure, but they're supposed to see if they're not printing false things in the news, and so but that's go to trusted websites, trusted news company, trusted because you build up a reputation. Now if they find out you're lying, there goes your reputation, there goes your company. But that doesn't mean that I don't think trusted news companies don't lie. You know, when they choose their battles, I couldn't say, but minutes of horror. He makes a good point.
For this story that came out about 2 years ago.
Well, a strange creature has been spotted outside the Amarillo Zoo, and it's not an animal. It's not exactly a human. Take a look. Security cameras captured what appears to be a wolf man walking around the property. City officials say this image is real, and they're baffled by its mysterious appearance. So now they're asking for the public's...
It looks like somebody in a suit. Now, if that's a real animal, that is bizarre. But like I said, it looks like in a suit, and if it's really an animal, that's insane.
Input to figure out what the heck is it. Some have suggested it could be chupacabra, that mythical beast-like predator that's become an urban legend. And others are calling this guy a UAO, as an unidentified Amarillo object. What do you?
Now you may be saying, well, maybe it's a hoax, maybe it's a man in a wolf costume, maybe it is, or maybe it's not. Do you remember those news articles that went back to 2016 where the NIH, the National Institute of Health, considered restarting funding for human-animal chimera research? Restarting meaning they were doing the experiments before they had the...
You see, remember when you guys, do you think they're doing human mixed with animal experiments? Well, this chimera thing that he's talking about, look at what it says. It says human animal chimera. See, so like I don't want to say anything and it's so far-fetched and I'm wrong that they get bent out of shape and act looking like I was on point. It seems like that's what they're saying, like for medical trials. They have species out there that are humans mixed with animals. That's not cool. I'm hoping I'm wrong. All right, so let's see what's going on.
Funding before, but they just stopped because I guess they ran out of money and they were waiting for more money. And now that they have the money again, well, they're restarting it. And reading this article from statnews.com, which was published on August 4th, 2016, it says federal health officials said that Thursday they are reconsidering a moratorium on the funding of research in which human tissues are transplanted into early non-human embryos, creating organisms known as chimeras. The proposed rule changes, which the National Institutes of Health announced in a blog post, would allow the agency to pay for experiments that incorporate human tissue into early-stage animal embryos, except for those of primates.
Okay, unless I'm crazy, unless I don't speak, I was right. You heard that right there yourself. I don't even got to repeat it. If you want, rewind, have that power.
Like monkeys and chimps, because I guess they're too close to humans and it would create some Frankenstein monster, like I guess a Bigfoot. Which also interesting, going back to those 42 monkeys which escaped from a lab. And I'm going to play.
You see me shaking my head, right? That's my instinct they're going too far. Don't go and mix humans with animals that are, they're doing it, they rationalize it by doing animals that are supposed to be close to our species. But I don't care. You're messing with nature. Some people would say you're messing with God and leave it alone. And to be honest with you, I don't agree with humans with animals.
Play a news segment later on in this video where people in New Mexico thought they saw a Bigfoot escaping from an underground lab. This article I'm reading from NPR.org, where the NIH says they are actually going to go ahead and lift the ban. This part of the article says one issue is that scientists might inadvertently create animals that have partly human brains, endowing them with some semblance of human consciousness or human thinking abilities.
This is exactly why I play the disclaimer at the beginning of the beginning shows.
Another is that they could develop into animals with human sperm and eggs and breed, producing human embryos or fetuses inside humans or hybrid creatures. Now, there was a bill that tried to be passed back in 2021, and you can see right here on congress.gov, Human Animal Chimera Prohibition Act of 2021. And this was actually ended by the Senate. The Senate voted along party lines to stop this bill. You can read this article right here from Forbes.com. The United States Senate on that Thursday voted along party.
They stopped it, I think, in 2021. I'm gonna rewind that. I don't like to rewind, but I want to see this. I want you guys to, again. I know you could rewind it yourself, but I want to hear it real quick again.
Human Animal Chimera Prohibition Act of 2021. And this was actually ended by the Senate. The Senate voted along party lines to stop this bill. You can read this article right here from Forbes.com. The United States Senate on that Thursday voted along party lines to end a Republican amendment to a technological development bill aimed at banning experiments to create certain types of human-animal chimeras, which scientists use to further medical research over ethical concerns. The amendment would have imposed either 10 years imprisonment or a fine of at least $1 million or both for even attempting to create a human-animal chimera. So when we see news stories, see news clips of a possible wolfman sighting, a photo of a wolfman-like creature, yeah, it could be a hoax. Yeah, it could be in a wolf costume. When they're trying to pass a bill to stop these human-animal chimeras from being made, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a hoax. The article goes on to say that scientists have spent decades creating chimeras to improve the testing of drugs and boost organ transplant research. But even within the scientific community, debates have raged about the relative humanity of chimeras and whether they are ethical. And if you really believe they stopped.
Now, I told you I had watched it, but I didn't watch it all the way to the end. And not only that, if I did see this part, I didn't remember it. So I hit ahead though with what I was saying about it being ethical. And even if I had it right, talking about crossbreeding, you know, no good
at just embryo and didn't embryos to grow out. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, in Dulce, New Mexico, where there's said to be a deep underground military base where experiments are conducted, creating these chimeras and so forth, these residents said they saw certain things come from the ground and around a certain location.
The world's first titanium.
You got to remember, sometimes you guys, we see on videos and they say they seen something. They're not sure if it was an alien or an animal. Now that you hear about these chimera things, now you might have an answer to some of your mysteries.
Back. I'm Mike Pagale, 3 Michelin chef, and I've been cooking.
Dulce is a quiet, unassuming town nestled in northern New Mexico. Many of its residents are members of the Jicarilla Apache tribe. They swear.
I tell stories, but my nose isn't growing.
They are not making this up.
Threw down a ladder from that spaceship, and then 2 small people started down.
Jerry Julian says she had her first extraterrestrial encounter right here on her Dulce ranch about 40 years ago.
It was huge. I just saw the bottom of it. It was like flat like this.
Many neighbors claim strange sightings.
Fat in the middle and kind of like rounded on the sides. You're speechless. Just don't know what to think. It's just like, it's like nothing you've...
Stories of the extraordinary, ordinary here?
I do not know. I do not know. Probably big mountain we have right now.
Rumors that there is a secret underneath the Archuleta Mesa here. The mountain overlooks Dulce.
This is why in the title you see that it says what's under what's the name of the Dulce, Mexico.
Dulce. Some people in town, the base is run by aliens working with our federal government to conduct mind control and genetic experiments. Do you believe that?
Yeah. Well, a whole bunch of people seen it, you know.
Like the ground opened up, steam coming.
They also claim they've seen some creatures cooked up in those experiments, like Bigfoot and something half human.
Down this way, the waist down, it's a goat. It has a tail. But up here, it's a man.
People tell me Dulce wasn't always a center for supernatural activity, but then sometime in the 70s, things changed. That's when cows started turning up mutilated.
They just cut out in between the legs right here. We've seen one.
I know it's not a predator. It's doing it. Someone's doing it.
Local police never definitively said who's to blame. Locals say it has to be something out of this world.
This is one of the more far out ones that I've brought to you guys, but you guys got to know, especially if it's far and it's true,
And since then,
I was taking a random picture, zoomed it in, and there was a UFO right there.
no, it sounds crazy.
They're just going to ask me, well, how much did you drink or what did you drink?
Submit to a lie detector test or anything, you know.
But say it's the truth. Question is, believe.
Anything possible these days now.
In Dulce, Megan Cruz, KOAT Action 7 News.
So when it comes to this dire wolf, when it comes to this supposed woolly mammoth, this is just nothing.
The dire wolves are so beautiful that's probably the first time they've rolled on us. But maybe the other ones weren't beautiful and they decided not to show us. Who knows?
More than phase one of getting you to accept their creations and experiments now being out in the public. Who knows what they're going to say they created next? That's always been here. Perhaps maybe a dragon or some type of lizard person.
He said phase one, and that's what I'm saying. This one, even though it's not phase one, there's a chance they didn't show us phase one because they're scared. They might have scared us off.
And they're going to say it's something brand new, a scientific discovery. But again, they have been doing this for years, and this is their way to condition you to now accept it. You news stories as if they were new, but they're not. They have been doing this stuff, and they've known about this stuff for, again, decades. They are now just for whatever reason trying to get you accustomed to it. So when you see their experiments out in public, perhaps in a zoo or even walking around, you'll say to yourself, well, the man on the TV, the man.
I think he's laughing because I'm the man on the TV, because to be honest with you, when you watch TV, you don't know the person telling you what he's telling you and you believe him and you have no idea if he's telling you the truth or not. But it's not that simple.
The man on it told me it was just an experiment conducted last year.
Also, I could be misinterpreting why he's laughing.
And everything's going to be okay. That's what the man on the TV told. Maybe even the story of those panda puppies were a psyop. Remember that story I covered last year where those people in China, they paid to go see baby pandas at the zoo. When these baby pandas came out, they were nothing but chows spray painted to look like pandas. And I even said to myself, I would love a panda dog. That's what these news stories are designed to do. We think everything's a distraction, but these news stories are designed to make you accept this, accept that, except they're very strange. Didn't you hear what they said at the end of the news segment? That they're going to go ahead and next work on trying to bring back the woolly mammoth. And nobody's going to say anything. Nobody's going to try to say, well, maybe that's a bad idea because the dire wolves, they are so adorable. And this is just...
I don't know about that, though. People out there don't like it when you mess with nature and you mess with what, you know, people believe God's creatures. You know, you already know. You know, maybe they'll push back.
Some elephant they genetically modify. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe.
You guys already know Minutes of Horror. If you want, go subscribe. Oh man, I almost forgot. Can't be forgetting to hit the like button.
Subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like. As any engagement.
1 second. Let me pull it down. I definitely can't leave without smashing the like. There, go ahead, people. All right, definitely leave. Let me know what you think. I mean, there's a lot to process, from the dire wolves to the creatures that they could have tried it and it didn't work, and then it goes to them saying that they're hearing something under the mountains. So tell me what you think, especially about if you think that they've conducted experiments that failed and they just discarded the creatures. I don't know about that. Anyway, it's your Spank Dog. You already know. Much love. Be safe out there.